From the KATC Weather Lab, here's Rob's forecast.
Welcome back. Well, another hot one out there today. Temperatures could hit the 100-degree mark. Officially, it looks like in the books so far 99, but we'll get the final tally in the next hour or so. Eventually, these 100s are going to go away. Maybe one more stab at it tomorrow, and then after that, hopefully just mid-90s or upper 90s, and then lower 90s at the latter end of the 10-day forecast. We'll get to that in just a bit. Let's take a look, though, at the upper pattern, because this is what's dictating on what's happening today and what's going to happen again tomorrow. We have a strong ridge of high pressure, but it's far enough away that around the periphery of that ridge, we're seeing disturbances develop. And late this afternoon, one developing across portions of Arkansas, northern Louisiana, into portions of Mississippi as well. And we're going to see that again tomorrow, and a bigger push of a little bit of a frontal boundary that's going to give us a much better chance of storms. As we scan the regional Doppler radars, you can see it's pretty busy up toward the Shreveport area. We do have some storms in around the Alex area. And then farther to the east, boy, it's lit up over toward New Orleans and Lake Pontchartrain. We'll get to that in a second. Locally here in Acadiana, just a few isolated showers showing up. One right here east of the Abbeville area, more towards the Erath. That cell has not been moving a lot, so it's producing some rain. Oberlin, then some activity as we get along Highway 190 in St. Landry Parish. Again, look at the intense storms. Oh, terrible for New Orleans metro traffic, folks. And then on the western end of Lake Pontchartrain, a very intense storm here. And then you can see more storms as we go back to the west over toward Donaldsonville. Farther north and east we go in Acadiana up to Avoyelles Parish, and very intense thunderstorms showing up here in Avoyelles Parish. There has been a severe thunderstorm warning. This is what we'll be looking at tomorrow. Storms that could be capable of producing damaging winds. And this one producing very heavy downpours in around the Marksville area. And it continues to drop to the south. Cottonport, you're up next. And this storm may work its way all the way into the rest of Acadiana. So we're going to keep some rain chances at 30–40% for early this evening. In the tropics, you have Hurricane Hova out here in the Pacific and maxed out at about 145, 150. That's going to be winding down with time. And in the Atlantic Basin, two tropical systems. Tropical Storm Margot forming earlier today in the eastern Atlantic. And there's another good-looking wave coming off the coast there. And then Hurricane Lee that is going through a rapid intensification cycle. Just look at the last few hours. You can see a pinhole eye developing. Now, hurricane hunters haven't gotten out here yet. This is based off of satellite techniques, and right now the Hurricane Center is putting this at about 130 miles an hour, but it looks a little bit stronger than that. I think this is well into the 145 to 150 range. We'll see 130 mile per hour winds right now. It's moving to the west-northwest at 15, and watch this forecast. You rarely see the Hurricane Center forecast a Category 5, and that's what we're going to have either later tonight or into tomorrow, 160 to 165. And then eventually hurricanes mature out. They go through eye wall replacement cycles, so we don't think it's going to stay a Cat 5 much longer than a day, and that is typical for the strongest hurricanes on Earth. But nonetheless, a potent Category 4, at least missing, hopefully, the Caribbean islands. And then we extrapolate looking at the models here, and it gets a little bit more interesting, especially as you work your way up toward the East Coast. There could be some threat to portions of New England or the Canadian Maritimes with time, so we'll be watching for that. But it shouldn't be a threat. It won't be a threat to the Gulf of Mexico, but there could be some big surf along the East Coast, and Bermuda is going to have to watch this one closely as we watch it here on the European Moisture Channel here. Notice here by Sunday, blue. That means dry air, not necessarily cooler, but it's going to feel good come Sunday morning. And then we'll be watching Lee out in the open Atlantic. And here's Bermuda, this little dot right here. So very close to Bermuda, and perhaps a graze or some sort of hit maybe in New England up through the Canadian Maritimes. We'll watch that. Meanwhile, we are high and dry and feeling pretty good as we progress through the next week to 10 days. So here's the risk of some storms through early this evening. Not exactly right, but giving us an idea that we may see some storms up until about 8 or 9 o'clock. 10 o'clock, things quiet down. Then tomorrow, different day. We start out in the upper 70s. We top out near 100. 100. But look at the storms tomorrow afternoon plowing through the area. So there's going to be strong gusty winds, even the model picking up on some of the wind gusts. But we could see gusts over 60 in some of these storms. So we might have a severe thunderstorm watch or a number of severe thunderstorm warnings going into tomorrow evening. And we're also hatched in for the possibility of severe weather as well. The Storm Prediction Center has western portions, central and western portions of Acadiana, and a slight risk category for storms that could produce damaging winds. So we'll watch that closely. Temperatures tomorrow, maybe not quite as hot, with storms arriving a little bit earlier, near 100 on the I-10 corridor, mid to upper 90s. It all depends on when those storms kick in. So 77s is the overnight low tonight. Showers and storms early, but it should be a quiet night. Tomorrow could be a stormy afternoon with temperatures topping out in the upper 90s before the storms arrive. I'm going 70% on rain chances. Few lingering showers perhaps Saturday morning, but Saturday afternoon is going to be lovely. Sunday and Monday morning are going to be nice, but more mid-90s and comfortable humidity as we head into next week. That's it for weather for now. We're going to have more coming up right after the break.